Oh, hey there, sorcery fans. Now that I've opened up 30 boxes of Arthurian Legends, I figured it's time to announce what I thought was my favorite card of the set. And as you can see, it's an Elite Mortal titled Brother Knight. Its Genesis ability lets you search your spellbook or hand for another Brother Knight and summon it here, shuffle if needed. I think that's pretty cool ability because if you're playing one copy of Brother Knight, it lets you find the other copy, find its brother, and put that into play as well. It's an elite rarity, which means you can play 2 elite copies in your spellbook, in your deck. And I've been playing the Templar Avatar a lot, which takes advantage of playing knights at a discount. It also has some sites that let you play elites at a discount. So if you're playing both of those sites, you could potentially get this Brother Knight in for 2 mana and 2 fire threshold, the first copy, and then find the second copy and have 2 Brother Knights out like on turn 3. That's pretty cool. The second reason I'm a fan of this card is that the original art is by Quentin Hoover, legendary Magic the Gathering card artist, who drew several cards for Magic the Gathering, going all the way back to the Alpha set with Vesuvian Doppelganger and Wrath of God. And I did a video previously discussing the original artwork that was used for French delegation. You can see that the art box was a little bit smaller, so shout out to Sorcery for improving the size of the art on the cards and making that the feature of the card. Here's the original card that you can see is the same art but just a little bit smaller. That was produced in this game called Camelot Legends, which is kind of a tabletop RPG. I did a video on all of the cards in that set, which also included some other legendary Magic the Gathering artists like Mark Poole, Jeff Menges, Melissa Benson, and Ed Beard Jr. Ed is working on the new Dragon Lord set that's coming out at Gen Con in August, so check that out if you're a fan of dragons and Ed's artwork. But I'm picking Brother Knight as my favorite card, A, because its ability is so good, and B, because of the arts by Quentin Hoover, and C, because the foil copies are extremely hard to pull. So this is my stack of foil copies of Brother Knight. I opened up 30 boxes and only pulled 1 foil copy of the Brother Knight in all of the 30 boxes. So if you're building a foil deck, I've seen a lot of sorcery players make all of the cards in their deck out of foil cards because you can play maybe with clear sleeves and showcase the art on the back if you want. But then you would know what all the cards are, so you definitely don't play with that way. Maybe you play the full art up and only show the full art. Either way, I think it's kind of a neat way to showcase the artwork of all the cards on the foil versions, have the full art on the back. I started picking up copies of these back in January, February of this year. They were as low as $4.95, I think, under $5. And when they were getting that low, I decided I would just start collecting them. Some of the other elites in the beta and Arthurian Legends sets are quite expensive because of their playability is so good, especially the mixes in beta. Those are elite rarity, and the elites are just not printed very much in the printing process. So if you open up an entire box of Arthurian Legends, you might find 1 elite per box, and sometimes you get 2, but in most cases you get 1 or 0. Ideally, you'll get 1 unique foil. That's an entirely different level of collecting. Alpha, beta, unique foils are hundreds and thousands of dollars in price. So for the average collector, if you want to get into sorcery and build your collection, I would do what I'm doing. I would pick maybe your favorite elite card. Maybe it's the Mix Aqua or the Mix Ignis, and then start kind of slowly accumulate a number of cards. Start with 2 because you need 2 foils for your foil deck, foiled out, blinged out sorcery deck, and then just pick up more as you can. The price might go up until supply runs out. Currently on TCG Player, there's about 6 sellers that have some Brother Knight foils. The price ranges from $30 to $60. Shout out to Cold Foil Heroes, who has a couple copies, has opened up thousands of Arthurian Legends boxes and sold me a few copies of these Brother Knight foils. I would have had 2 more copies for this collection, but they got lost in the mail, never showed up. Hopefully they got returned to the seller and they can resell them, but I am missing 2 copies of Brother Knight foil if anyone has them. I was able to pick up a few more recently on eBay auctions. There were some sellers that just listed them for like $9 at auction, and so I was able to get them for about $10. I think $10 is a pretty fair price for the Brother Knight foil. But looking at comparing the prices to other elite foils, it would not surprise me if elite foils from Arthurian Legends traded as high as $100 someday. Especially if the unique foils, which are already at $100, if they go even higher to maybe like $200 or $250 for elite foils. But this is basically the collection that I've started putting together of my favorite card, Brother Knight by Quentin Hoover. I'm thinking about grading these with PCG. I'd like to try to get a pristine 10 copy of the Brother Knight foil from PCG. Let me know in the comments what you think your favorite Arthurian Legends or sorcery card is in general. Do you have collections like this where you hoard dozens of copies of a particular card? And are you a fan of the foil cards on Arthurian Legends? The last thing I noticed that a couple of the copies, there were some printing defects. So once you pick up a number of cards in mass quantities, you can start to notice subtle differences between the cards in grading, like print dots. That's important for grading. So if you're going to submit just cards blindly, the grading companies will take close attention to the details and notice things like shifted print boxes or text boxes, or scratches to the surface, or edge wear. But if you only have 1 or 2 copies of the card, you won't notice the differences as easily. But once you have, let's say, 30 copies, you can compare the cards side by side, shuffle through them, and see the differences much more clearly. So that's what I did. I think I'm going to review these a little more closely and see if I have maybe 10 to 20 cards out of this batch of 30 that is suitable for grading that I might submit to PCG. I will report back on my findings and let you know how my next PCG submission goes, and then I'll do a video when I make a Brother Knight submission video. Hope you learned something about Arthurian Legends foils today. Stay tuned for more Magic the Gathering content. I'm working on a Mishra's Burnished Banner EDH deck. I'm trying to rebuild it from scratch using TCG Player, and to see if I can build it cheaper than buying a pre-constructed deck. So do like and subscribe to the channel if you want to get more Sorcery and Magic the Gathering content in your feed every day. I'm approaching 1,000 subscribers. So if we get to that milestone of 1,000 subscribers, we can start making more content and probably start a podcast for you where we talk weekly about cards like Brother Knight and the general collecting hobby of Sorcery, Magic the Gathering, TCGs. All right, thanks everyone for tuning in today. Have a great week. We'll see you in the next video. Cheers, everyone.